In the studio with me is Mr. Stephen Jones. Juror? Are you still a juror, Stephen?
Certainly am.
You are. I'll behave myself. I will. It's him out there you got to watch. That Danny bloke. Right? Keep an eye on him. Stephen, let's get straight to this one. Can you explain what the role of the trustee actually is?
Yeah, a trustee, and often now we call them directors of charities. They're the ones with the responsibility for making sure everything's done properly, come up with the ideas perhaps for strategy to make sure that the purpose of the charity is fulfilled in the best possible way.
And of course, you've got a background in finance.
Indeed.
And I hear that your work with charities started when you joined your lovely wife, who helps with working with Cheshire Homes, who I've worked with as well.
You certainly have, and you and I have shared the beach in Cobo on Boxing Day several times. Yeah, we go right back to before the Cheshire Home opened, actually, and someone approached us. My wife was on the sort of fundraising committee, and someone approached me and said, we got some staff starting next week. You know how to do payroll. Come and join us. And I think we did that for the next 30 years, to be honest.
I mean, the Boxing Day dip for Cheshire Homes, well, what a day.
Yeah, fantastic community day. Yeah.
It's just so good. It really is. How has your journey progressed since then?
I've been lucky to be involved in lots of charities, and I have to say mostly as a trustee or a director. We're so blessed in Guernsey with hundreds and hundreds of people who are volunteers who help the charities, whether it's raising money or working in a charity shop, Meals on Wheels, all those things. But in the end, someone has to sit on the board or sit on the trustees and take responsibility and plan stuff to make sure that you can get the best from the volunteers who want to give their time.
And I don't know if we've got time for this, but which charities have you been involved with?
I'm lucky. I've been involved with a lot. The Cheshire Home for a long time. Yeah. Chest and Heart is another fantastic one. The Guernsey Employment Trust is one which we don't think of as a charity, but does wonderful work. But yeah, a lot. And currently I'm chairman of Help a Guernsey Child, and now recently the Bourgs Hospice, which is a very big charity and has a long tradition of very strong trustees there.
Yeah. And in 2008, you were elected as a juror. How did you manage to sort of work that with charities?
Well, I think it works excellently, and I would say almost all the jurates are very actively involved with charities. You've got to wear lots of hats, but being busy is a really good thing.
And an OBE, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, very lucky for that.
Tell me about that.
A fantastic honour to have an OBE for service to the community, it was described. But yeah, being involved with the charities is one of those things. And it's just very fulfilling, it's exciting that you can help people. And Guernsey has the opportunity to use people who are working in finance, who are working in building, working in health and safety and things like that. All those skills are needed on the boards of charities, and they're out there, and you just have to dip your toe in the water, and then you'll be dragged in, I can assure you.
Now, as you know, I enjoy working with charities. I worked with one Saturday night. I'm working one this coming Saturday. What would you say to somebody like me who's thinking about getting more involved with working?
Very often people have a specific passion that they've been involved in something, and they've got a feeling for it, but actually, it's companionship of the others. It's knowing, that you're doing some good, but you've just got to enjoy it. And I've worked with lots of charity events with you, and your enthusiasm just comes across, and that's needed. And that applies whether a charity needs a bookkeeper or a company secretary or someone who knows about property, about buildings and so on. All those things make you want to help, and those skills which you perhaps are using in business, you'll feel different about them when you're using them for a charity.
And if you ever need an auctioneer, I'm your man. No commission. All right, no commission at all. I mean that.
The best one in the island, I'm told.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I've even gone and got myself an auctioneer's license just to cover the right areas, In the light of Trustees Week, which it is, do you think it's helpful for people to know more about the role of this and the part that the trustee plays in the third sector?
Yeah, I suspect people really know about it because what we all want to avoid, you were talking earlier about Tuesdays, what we all want to avoid is long, pointless meetings that don't get anywhere. But I think most charities are very active. And so I think most people can envisage that decisions have to be made. And I think they're run well. I don't get any feedback of people saying I've been bored because I've been sitting in long meetings or anything. I think most charities want to get on with it, and that's stimulating.
And of course, as we know, a lot of the charities took a bit of a downfall, didn't they, during the pandemic?
Yeah.
A lot of them really suffered, and I think some of them still are.
I think so. One of the other things that I was chairman of the Social Investment Fund and the first chairman and set it up, and of course that was launched just as COVID was starting. And the people of Guernsey then were incredibly generous with their money. They couldn't give their time, but they were, and I think the Social Investment Fund did a great job in making sure that, well, frankly, none of the charities went bust. They may have had to contract a bit. But raising money's not easy with the cost of living as it is. And I think corporates' budgets are cut as well, less autonomy in the islands. So it's harder to raise the money, but the services provided by the charities are still so desperately needed, even more so as government doesn't always provide those services.
Again, which charities are you involved with?
Well, Help a Guernsey Child, I have been for years, and that's a really interesting one because you're very involved with, frankly, poverty, families in poverty that you wouldn't dream of in Guernsey. And we have about 4 or 5 applications a week from people who are really desperate. And it's great that we're able to have enough funding from corporates there to be able to help people out who, literally may have no food or no bedding, often their white goods have failed. They haven't got a washing machine or a cooker, and they've got no money to go and buy them now. So Help a Guernsey Child has been a great one over the years. The Bourgs Hospice, I think everybody knows about, and a lot has touched so many families. Big charity to run, expensive charity to run, but doing an unbelievable service for the island.
I think my wife tells me I'm doing one which she sort of stitched me up on. I'll use the word stitch me up very lightly. In January, it's sleeping rough for a night.
Yes, the homelessness charity, which is just starting off really, as a result of a lot of excellent work done by the Guernsey Community Foundation.
Right, So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and sleep rough for a night.
Yeah. Good for you, in January.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know afterwards.
Yeah, okay then. I'm chasing you up the sponsorship. What do you mean, let you know afterwards? I mean, do you get involved in getting into it as well? I mean, I know you and I both went for a swim once, but, we try and avoid that bit.
But actually the truth is, I think the real volunteers who want to just give that service, whatever it is, I've said, working in the charity shop or helping, in the Guernsey Cheshire Home, people helping with the activities, and in the Bourgs Hospice, believe it or not, the evening meal is done by volunteers. I think that's really, really important. I personally do less than that. I've done Meals on Wheels and so on. But as I said, someone has to be the trustee to understand what the charity needs to do.
Take the reins.
And set how it's doing it. And I think if anyone's considering it, getting in touch with the Guernsey Community Foundation, as I say, the skill gaps that we've got tend to be around accounting, around company secretarial. And it's awful that when you think there are hundreds of people earning their living that, why can't they come and volunteer? And it is volunteer. It's unpaid always.
Yeah. Stephen, it's always good talking to you. I mean, you and I could sit down and talk for hours. And about fundraising. I just love fundraising myself, and there's things that I do for every charity if I'm asked. And I've got to say, sat behind this microphone, it's an easy thing to do and promote it for people. And I'm always saying to people, if you are doing a fundraiser, let me know about it. Let's see how much we can actually raise and do things. We've got our own big one coming up very, very shortly, which is Children in Need. I think I've been involved with that for 25 years. It's always good. As you probably came through the door, all our merchandise is there now. It comes through every year. But no, thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
And keep up the good work, sir.